Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are the UX design people. In this channel, we share tips, ideas, inspirations, and everything related to UX design. This episode is a continuation of the UX of notifications. In the first part of this topic, I explained the meaning of notifications as simply a way of an app or a website communicating with the end user. I also mentioned that there are four components of a notification: the headline, the body, the CTA, and the dismiss button. After that, I classified the notifications into three attention levels. Finally, I explained 10 types of notifications. For those who haven't watched the first part of this video, I've added it in the description and also on my screen. I recommend that you watch it before watching this one, as it gives a lot of pre-exposure into today's episode. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. If you have not subscribed yet, please do, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of my videos when they drop. Today we are going to be looking at some questions you should ask yourself while designing notifications. The first question is, what is the purpose of the notification? You want to ask yourself, why are you creating this notification? We know that notifications serve a crucial purpose in keeping users engaged and informed. They can provide feedback on user actions such as likes, comments, or purchases. Additionally, notifications can deliver important information, including promotional offers, system updates, or reminders for upcoming events. Once you know the reason you are creating the notification, you can effectively classify it into high attention, medium attention, or low attention. You need to choose the type of notification based on the kind of attention or the amount of attention that you want to grab from your user. The second question is, what would trigger the notification? You need to ask yourself, what initiates this notification? How does it start? Is it the user that initiates it? For example, when one user is messaging the other, or is it the system, like some notifications for you to update the app? Or is it an event or task, like when a user tries to withdraw from their bank and you're notifying them of something, maybe it's successful or not. When a user is trying to withdraw or make a payment and you are notifying them of the status of that payment, so that's another trigger. A notification can be triggered by context, meaning that only a particular group of users are the ones that are going to see this notification. An example is when you have like this educational management platform and probably you have some students that have paid their school fees and some that have not paid their school fees, and you want to send a notification only to those that haven't paid their school fees. So this is a kind of context. You only want to streamline the people that get your notifications. Passive notifications are those silent ones, like the badges that I explained in my previous video. You don't really need the user to take an action immediately or at all. Then personalized notifications, similar to the context trigger, but this one is kind of personalized. It's just like you are sending it based on what this user is doing at this particular time, or you are sending it because the user has unique characteristics. An example is when you participate in an online giveaway, or you just sign up to something and before you know it, you are chosen. This is a personalized notification. Not everybody will get it. Only you, the winner, is going to get it. The third question is, how important is this message? You know that the situation is either easily resolved or potentially harmful. Ask yourself, is this notification that I'm about to create, is it going to be easily resolved by the user? Is it something that is potentially harmful so that they can take an action immediately? This is going to help you choose what kind of notification to create. Question number 4 is, where would the notification appear? I explained in my previous video that notifications can either be internal or external. The internal notifications are the ones that you get within the app. You don't need to go elsewhere. You can access them right within your app or within your website, while the external one is the one that you get even as you are not using the app. They get delivered to you even though you are not using the app at the moment. Examples are push notifications on mobile or web app, or emails. The next question you should ask yourself while designing notifications is immediate action required of the user? If an immediate action is required of the user, you just need to provide a CTA, clear call to action button that is going to tell them exactly what they need to do, since an immediate action is required. But if an immediate action is not required, if you are just informing them, you may not necessarily need to put a CTA. Another thing to note is that if an immediate action is required of the user, it is good to let them know that an immediate action is required, and then you use the high attention level notifications like modals so that they know that I have to do something immediately. So one thing you can do is that if it's on a mobile app, you can send a push notification. Then when they open it, it goes right into the app. Then you display a modal so that they know that this thing is actually very important. You have to emphasize how important it is for them to take that action. And you tell them the dangers of not taking that action. But you make sure that your text is not long and confusing. Don't forget the CTA. I cannot stress this enough. Don't forget the CTA if an immediate action is required of the user. Question number 5, is the notification persistent or non-persistent? For persistent notifications, you need to make sure that users still have access to the notification even after they navigate away from the initial screen. An example is if a user has a subscription that has expired, that has just expired, obviously they want you to renew. The notification will not just come once and go because you want them to renew. What you need to do is that every time they come back to the app, you make sure that it is there. Your subscription has expired, renew. It's not something that you just display once. What if they dismiss it? You make sure that anytime they come back to the app, they keep seeing that notification that their subscription has expired. Then for non-persistent notifications, you need to decide how long before the notification disappears, and should there be an option to dismiss it before it fades out. This means that you need to ask yourself, how long do I want this notification to be there? For example, you make a payment. I love payment examples, to be honest. Subscription, payment, withdrawal. I love those examples. So you need to ask yourself as a designer, how long do you want this notification to be there to notify the user that their payment is successful? Obviously, you know that it's not persistent because this action is just a one-off thing, and once they make the payment and you show them that the payment is successful, they need to move on to other things. It's just not going to be there. It's not going to be a banner. It's not going to be a modal or something just there in their face. So you need to decide, how long do I need to show them? Is it 4 seconds? Is it 5 seconds? Some notifications should not appear for too long, like telling somebody that their payment is successful. You know that such notification is informational. You are just giving the status of the task that they have just completed. Once they know that it's successful, you take off the notification. You want to ask yourself, should I add the dismiss button before it fades out? Or you want the users to have no control over it? Because if you give users control, then you add the dismiss button. But if you don't want to give users that control, then you have to include it in your documentation that let this notification fade out after so seconds. So that's basically what the persistence and non-persistence mean. Now let's go into the general principles guiding notifications. The first one we are going to talk about is relevance. For relevance, you make sure that your notification adds value to the user. You don't want to design notifications that are just redundant. They don't add any value. They are not informing them of anything. You put one error message that people don't understand. It's not adding any value because the user doesn't understand the message. The notification must help them achieve a goal. It's not until when there's a CTA that they can achieve a goal. No. For them to know that something is happening is an achievement. The goal might be to make the user aware of an ongoing promo, to make the user aware that their payment is successful. Then the notification should be dismissible when necessary. Like I said, it's not all notifications that can be dismissed, but when necessary, when you know that this notification is not so important that it needs to be there all the time, then you should give users control to be able to dismiss it. The second principle or guideline here is simplicity. Your notification must be concise and easy to read. Your call to action buttons must be clear. You need to show fewer notifications. Don't forget to put the notifications in a list that they can access even when they navigate away from the initial page. Principle number 3 is timing. You send one notification at a time. You don't want to bombard your users with so many notifications. I mentioned something in my last video about badges, that you don't litter your page with badges. You don't just splatter them all over the page. You want to send your notifications one at a time, especially the ones that take up so much space of your screen. You don't want to have like a banner on top or a modal in between, a promo ongoing just underneath the modal and things like that. You don't want to do that. It's going to distract users and even discourage them from coming back to your website. Another thing about timing is that you carefully consider when to send these notifications. There are some notifications that need to be sent immediately, while some can be delayed. The notifications that need to be received immediately by the user should be received immediately the trigger is activated. On mobile, you need to delay sending notifications on freshly downloaded apps. Sometimes you've just downloaded an app and before you know it, they're just sending in all these notifications. This is ongoing, this is ongoing. I want you to be a part of this. We want your access to send you more notifications. You need to give your users time to familiarize themselves with your app, to get to know how it works, what it does, and things like that before you start sending them notifications for access to this or your promos and things like that. Principle number 4 is attention. What level of attention are you trying to grab from the user? From my previous video, I've explained the 3 attention levels. If you have not watched it, I've added a link to the video in the description. For high attention level notifications, you should consider including sound and haptic feedback. You can add some sounds and vibrations just to complement the normal notification alerts that they get. You can also use multiple notification types. For example, like I said earlier, you send a push notification first. Then when they get inside the app, they still see the notification, maybe as a modal or inside the notifications panel. You need to allow users customize their notifications, especially if they are within an app. In that app, you need to add where they are going to enable or disable or even mute the notifications. So they are coming in, but they are muted. The last principle guiding the user experience of notifications that I'm going to be talking about is usability and or accessibility. For usability, you want to ensure proper contrast and font size to ensure that your notification is legible. The font is big enough for people to read. Don't forget that you are designing your notifications for people of different ages and different health conditions. Make sure that your notifications are easily readable. Another thing is to make sure that your notifications stand out from the background. So you want to differentiate the background on which your notifications appear. For instance, if the background of the main page or the current page is white, you may want to make your notifications have a background that will be very different from white. You can pick one of the other colors of the brand. Another thing is that you want to test your notifications. You compare multiple notifications, multiple designs that you've done to make sure that you are using the notifications that will yield the best results. And what are these results? Engagement or action. Don't select notifications out of bias, like, oh, this one looks good, let me apply it to my design. That one looks good, let me apply it to my design. You make sure that you choose the one that actually reflects what users want, how they interact with it, how easy it is to use, and things like that. You might not even like the one that turns out to be the best out of the iterations that you present to users when you are testing. But don't forget that you are not designing for yourself, you are designing for the users. So don't be emotional about it. We have finally come to the end of this video and this topic. We've been able to discuss the meaning of notifications, the components of notifications, different attention levels, types of notifications, questions to ask yourself while designing notifications, as well as the guidelines that can help you to create better notifications. If you really enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Encourage your friends, especially those in UX design, to subscribe as well. You can also let me know what type of content you would like to see more from this channel. Please drop them in the comments below. If you have questions, requests, observations, anything you feel you want to share, please use the comment section, or you can send me a direct email by clicking on my profile. I hope that you have learned one or more things about notifications. See you guys in the next video. Bye. The last principle I'm going to... Oh, fuck.